Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my presentation about population of the world. I am SANANTH Pradeep Nair. So, what are the trends in global population? Unfortunately, the world's population has exploded in the last 100 years. This is because of the factors that are invention of tools for hunting, agriculture revolution, industrial revolution, modern medicine, advancement of scientific technology, they all add up to better living conditions, more food, and less death rate. Between 1300 and 1650, there was an increase of 100 million people in 350 years. That's a 20% increase in population in 350 years. Between 1650 and 1700, there was an increase of 100 million people in 50 years. That's a 20% increase in population in 50 years. In 1750, there were 750 million people on planet Earth. Increase of 150 million people in 50 years. That's a 25% increase in population in 50 years. In 1800, there were 900 million people on planet Earth. That's an increase of 150 million people in 50 years. That's a 20% increase in population in 50 years. In 1850, there were 1.2 billion people on planet Earth. That's an increase of 300 million people in 50 years. That's a 33% increase in population in 50 years. In 1900, there was 1.6 billion people on planet Earth. That's an increase of 400 million people in 50 years. That's a 33% increase in population in 50 years. In 1950, there were 2.4 billion people on planet Earth. That's an increase of 800 million people in 50 years. That's a 50% increase in population in 50 years. In the year 2000, the population hit 6 billion people on Earth. That's an increase of 3.6 billion in 50 years. That's a 250% increase in population in 50 years. As of 10th of July 2012, the world population stands at an estimated 7.025 billion people. In 2013, there are over 7 billion people on planet Earth. The population grew by 1 billion over the last 11 years. This graph shows the estimated population of the year 2025. As you can see, it's 8.5 billion. So, how can we manage the fact that by 2100 there will be well over 12 billion of us? Let's look at the positives and negatives to this increase of global population. Start with the positives. There will be developing in technology, economic boost, more innovation, and longer life. So what are the consequences? There'll be shortage of space because people require homes, and in order to do that they need land, so they need to destroy forests and habitations. This will affect us because there will be soil erosion, less rainfall, and climate change. The negatives. There will be lack of medical facilities, food shortages, limited resources, shortage of jobs, poor sanitation, climate change, and water shortage. Population and resources. Population versus resources. When population increases, the resources demand increases, it becomes unavailable, and it becomes expensive. How can we control population explosion? The biggest problem mankind will face in the next 200 years is that there are just too many of us. How can we solve this? Abstinence is against our biological nature. Birth control is expensive and can fail. Apparently, abortion is murder, but I think this is ridiculous. Limiting the number of children people can have won't work, because what are you supposed to do if they have kids anyway? Kill the kid? Find them into poverty? No. How can we manage the fact that by 2100 there will be well over 12 billion of us? I request all world leaders to take this population growth very seriously and prevent population explosion by taking stronger action now. You may follow the few tips that will be spoken later to achieve this goal. If we ignore this topic, we will be doomed and we will struggle in the future. Here are the tips to prevent overpopulation. There will be spreading awareness. Make people aware of population growth and consequences of population explosion. Educate people. You should educate people like leaders that have the power to spread the awareness. Educate people on family level to have family planning. Strict rules for government. China is a good example, who have implemented one-child policy. At the moment it's working very well. If we all do this, we can actually control our population. Birth control. Birth control measures should be cheaper and accessible to the needy population. Incentives for smaller families. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you very much.